needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner, Craig Zins Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines. If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where Inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
All right, we are live, and I apologize. Getting in a little late. I thought 8:30 had saved me enough time, but obviously it did not. So I apologize to everyone that's already on the chat. Everybody, Tony Khan did not suspend me. I guess he suspended enough people. Let's see. Greater Good's already in. Let's Frankie Fresco, of course. Steve Chapman in as always. Albuquerque Alex in. EWD Jr. is in. So I don't know. Is there anything to really talk about today? I don't think anything happened, right? I mean, there's a couple pay-per-views and let's see, a Raw and an NXT, and then they did Dynamite last night. And, oh, yeah, all the news is outside of the ring, and AEW had a little kerfuffle happen after their pay-per-view. So that's going to take up a majority of this show because I do follow, yes, and Frankie, I was running on Cuban time. Yes. Yes. But so Fightful got some of the reaction. They've got both sides of the story, and believe it or not, they are completely opposite. Completely opposite of what actually, the CM Punk side says one thing, the Elite side says another. I'm not sure how Brandon Cutler and Kazawa and all them got suspended from my understanding of what they were done involved in the melee, but we will try to decipher and we'll discuss that and see where it leads to here for AEW, because also on top of all this, by the way, CM Punk was injured. He has to get surgery and he's out until next year. So there's that as well, because so CM Punk has won the title and has a 6-day reign as the champion, and he's had to give up the title both times due to injury. So the stories as they go, and I want to kind of go through the stories because I don't want to throw any of the stories wrong. And again, some of you may have already heard a lot of what has happened and read on different outlets and everything there. But I'm going to go first. We're going to go with the one that was just released today. And it is the side of the story from the Young Bucks and Omega. No, it's not his body giving up on him. I guess he tore his tricep somewhere during the match. I haven't gone back and looked at it, but apparently somewhere during the match near the end, he actually tore his tricep. I'm sorry. I think I added a T in there. I don't know what I was trying to do there. So here's where we go with this. I'm going to read it. It's a little bit long, but not too long, about 2 paragraphs. So bear with me. And yes, Tony, we'll dive into that. Malachi Black asked for a release. He was given a conditional release. I'm not sure what the hell that means, the conditional release, because remember, I believe he had almost 3 or 4 years left on his AEW deal. But we'll jump into that here in a minute as well. But here is the side of the story, the fight that happened after the media scrum when CM Punk went off on basically everybody, I believe. I'm not sure who he didn't talk about. Maybe Tony Khan, the guy who writes the checks, but that's about it. So it starts out and it says the Young Bucks went to talk to CM Punk. As he'd outlined, they should if they had a problem. Remember, they had a meeting the other day. CM Punk said, quit going to the dirt sheets and come to me. That's what he told the talent in the meeting. Quit going to the dirt sheets. Come to me if there's an issue. So the Young Bucks went there. As he outlined, the claim said that they opened the door, not kicked it in as claimed by the other side. And before Matt Jackson could say anything, Punk had went off and started throwing sucker punches at Matt's head. Nick went to intervene, and Ace Steel allegedly threw a chair and hit Nick in the face. The Kenny Omega involvement was said to be him trying to remove Larry, CM Punk's dog, from the situation to help keep him safe because he was barking and going nuts. Their side of the story says that once he handed Larry off, he tried to get Ace Steel off Nick Jackson. This is when Ace Steel bit Omega and pulled his hair. Perhaps the only lighthearted aspect we heard was when someone joked he got bit and someone assumed Larry the dog bit Omega and learned it was allegedly Steel. And then there was a lot of shouting coming from both sides and allegations of legal threats from Punk's side. Now that is Omega and Punk's side of the story. Now we're going to go over to what was CM Punk and Ace Steel's side of the story here. So bear with me again. Some of this may repeat a little bit, but you'll start seeing where some of the, again, Young Bucks said they went in. They did not kick the door in. They opened up the door to talk to CM Punk before he could say anything. CM Punk started going off. Here is the Punk Steel side of things. After the scrum, the Young Bucks approached Punk's locker room, and Punk wasn't answering the door after having been in a long match, bloodied, and finished with an emotional scrum. The Bucks were said to have pounded on the door with claims that they kicked the door down, according to Punk and side Steel of things. Matt Jackson swung first but missed, and Punk responded. We're told at that point Nick was pretty much taking it in. Omega and Steel pushed their way into the room. Ace Steel's wife was in the room, which is what Steel has told people set him off and made him go ballistic, throwing chairs, and ended up biting someone. The claim made from him was that he was looking out for his wife above anything else. From what we heard, Omega didn't seem nearly as upset initially, but things got out of hand and he ended up being bitten. We're told the fight was a very long altercation and that the talk back and forth did not stop after the brawl. There was rumors that CM Punk had injured his tricep during the fracas. However, those near to him say it happened during a dive that many noticed during the AEW All Out main event, which has been, I believe, confirmed as well. He could be seen icing it after the match during the scrum. They haven't been told the severity, but obviously he needs surgery now. He'll be out till the beginning of the year. And then now there was rumors running rampant that Steel and Punk are both done with AEW, but those close to them say they haven't been informed of what that was as of yet. Virtually all the AEW roster we've spoken with believe that if Punk and Steel aren't let go, heavy amends will need to be made. So basically, everybody's been suspended, except the only name that I've not seen come out has been Punk. And unless something has changed in the last couple hours, I have not seen CM Punk mentioned as far as being suspended. But there's been also some of the stories going around that the AEW legal department is involved in an investigation. What that investigation is and if that has to do with Punk or anything like that, possibly they're trying to get out of a contract. I'm talking off of, my sleeve here. I don't know, but maybe they're trying to find a way out of the deal. My honest opinion is, look, he's injured. Suspend him. See if they can all be professional and make money off this when he comes back. There's money to be made here when CM Punk comes back. If they can all be professional and make it happen. Look at Matt Hardy and Edge. That whole situation there, they understood, man, that you know what? That happened. Let's be professional in the ring and let's make money. They can make money on this. And believe it or not, after everything went done, and somebody tweeted at me and I forgot who it was. And they're like, what do you think happens on AEW Dynamite tonight? And I said, controversy creates cash. That's what Eric Bischoff wrote his book about. Last night was AEW's best rating in over 3 months. In over 3 months, they got their best rating last night. And not a mention of any of this went on. Now, whether people tuned in thinking they would, was the MJF return that much better? Also, Jon Moxley was supposed to be going on vacation, which is why he lost the title. He's supposed to be out until October, the middle of October. But he had to come back now and change that. You had, to me, MJF's return overshadowed, although he did a great job on the mic and getting it back at the beginning of the show last night. You know, and yeah, please hit the like button, smash that like button for me, please. But look, man, I think MJF's going to be fine. I mean, you can say this overshadowed it. I was a little lukewarm on how they brought him back with the whole Stokely getting the thing and then him coming out as their, you know, I just thought, to me, I wanted the big grandioso entrance. I would have rather had Stokely pull down the chip and leave and then have MJF make his entrance with the chip later on that night. Nothing was wrong with the way they did it with the dancing with the devil, the symphony of the devil and everything they did there. I thought it was good. It just, to me, I want that grandioso feeling for somebody like MJF returning. I feel it should be bigger than bring them into a casino battle royal and play, you know, the mind games, if you will, when everybody knew, you know, it would have been bigger news if it wasn't MJF and the casino battle royal by the time it happened. So all in all, I thought the AEW All Out, you know, pay-per-view was okay. It's long, man. That's the only bad thing about those pay-per-views. They're so long, man. They're so long that usually you get worn out, man, by the end of them. I mean, it started at 7. I think the first match went on at 7:15-ish. And the pay-per-view ended right. I think this one actually ended a little bit earlier, like right around midnight. You got 4 hours and almost 45 minutes of wrestling. You know, I mean, match-wise, I think it was, you know, they had some of the better matches. I thought the NXT When Worlds Collide, I thought that was a good pay-per-view. Unfortunately, I mean, here's my take on that real quick too before I get too much. I believe Triple H is going to do what WWE originally said they wanted to do and make NXT a third brand. Watching the When Worlds Collide, it was very interesting to see, you know, Braun Breaker come, you know, unified the heavyweight titles. Pretty Deadly ended up taking the tag team titles. Mandy Rose unified the women's titles. I almost feel like Triple H is going to finally make that the third brand, which is what they originally wanted to do. But then they got into the whole thing where AEW numbers were better than NXT numbers, but Vince was still treating NXT like developmental and not giving it, you know, to me, enough of a push to make it mean anything. Everybody just looked at it as developmental. I think if the way everything played out at that pay-per-view, I believe you're going to see a third brand, and I believe NXT is going to start traveling more than just Florida. especially now that you can bring some of the NXT UK talent right now until NXT Europe kicks in. You have a lot of great talent there. A lot of great talent. We're going to dive back into the fracas and the pay-per-view too here in a minute, but go back over to the chat board. Let's see. Oh, my dad jumped in there now. Yeah, Dominic Mysterio did the heel turn, and we'll see where it goes, man. I like the look they're giving him. I just don't see him as a badass. And I don't know why. I don't know what it is about him. It just doesn't have that badass heel feel to me. You can throw all the black clothing on him and have his hair out and everything else. I just can't buy him as a heel. Josh, what's up? AEW sucks. They are going through something right now. But again, you know, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right? And I think you're going to see a better product out of this. Honestly, I do. I thought the AEW Dynamite, you know, the show last night was pretty damn good for having to jump through hoops and the trios title or back out on the line, which the only thing I think I might have done maybe a little bit different, but you know what? Never mind. I stand corrected because the Dark Order is injured, which is why they could not come back into the tournament. So never mind. I take that back. So, I think they did good there with the trios. I think Death Triangle is, you know, very well deserving, very over. So we'll see where that goes. Tony Storm, that whole thing there, you kind of got the Dr. Britt Baker, Jamie Hayter breakup started there. They pushed Daniel Garcia. They gave him the ROH Pure title, which, you know, again, I like Daniel Garcia. I know he's a smaller guy, but he reminds me of Bryan Danielson early, when Bryan Danielson was the American Dragon before he got to WWE and he grew his hair out and everything else. If you go back and watch him, Daniel Garcia reminds me of a young American Dragon, Bryan Danielson. To the moves when you watch him, and it's very interesting, and I'm glad that they're giving him a push. But they are also doing something on AEW, which, you know what, I'm not necessarily a big fan of, is they're running a lot of Ring of Honor titles, a lot of Ring of Honor matches. I get it, Samoa Joe, Claudio Castagnoli. I get all those guys that you want to have on the show, but to me, if you're AEW, be AEW. You're defending. I get you own Ring of Honor, but to me, AEW's got to start being AEW. Find another place for Ring of Honor. Find another place. Throw that on. What I don't understand is this. You've made a show, AEW Dark and AEW Dark Elevation. You're telling me you can't throw out another show for Ring of Honor? I'm just saying. TV time is valuable. And I think you're starting to see, you know, again, the environment that was created because of, you know, there's not a lot of opportunities. You brought in all this talent and you only have 2 hours of TV. 1 hour every other week with Rampage. So you have 3 hours. I'm sorry, what do we have? 2, 9, 10 hours of TV a week. I mean, I'm sorry, 10 hours of TV a month. WWE has 9 a week. Think of that. Greater good is AEW falling apart. Once they're falling apart, I think Tony Khan is starting to realize that you can't let the nuts run the asylum. I hate to say it that way, man. I hate to say it that way because, you know, but you cannot let the nuts run the asylum. This is what you end up getting. I can't believe it took this long for somebody to have a blow up with the Elite. And I get the Elite were doing everything they could and doing very good at doing the EVPs and not putting themselves. Hell, the Young Bucks didn't have the tag team titles for the longest time, right? Kenny Omega got the strap because he earned the strap. And then when he fell apart, he had to go away. He lost the title. So there wasn't anything there. But to me, I mean, you're the EVPs and you control what goes on creatively for these guys. And then now with the whole CM Punk thing, and then you saw, I mean, hell, even Chris Jericho last night was like, this is my locker room. And I will never lose this locker room. John Moxley came out. You know what I'm saying? I mean, look, MJF did his little spiel and he's like, oh, jolly old Saint Nick. Nick Khan is the only good Khan in pro wrestling. And I'll win the title and take it to the real wrestling company with my buddy, my hero, Cody Rhodes. That's all fluff, man. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, I told C-Man when he asked me what I thought of everything, I said, I want to see how they handle it on AEW Dynamite. They didn't bring it up. That tells me that, they're looking at this as a serious matter. They're going to they suspended the guys that were involved in it. Punk's getting surgery. Christopher Daniels was suspended as well as Ace Steel. They're kind of in the background of the things. Kenny Omega, is it Nakazawa? I can never say his name right. And Christopher Daniels are supposed to be going to Japan to push the new AEW Forever video game. And there's talk that they don't know if they're still going because all of them have been suspended. So we'll see where that goes. Frankie Fresco says, I think AEW did a good job having Moxley speak well about the company. Yeah, I mean, look, Moxley is the heart of AEW, I think. Moxley and Jericho, honestly, man, when you look at what that company has become now, and again, you can throw Bryan Danielson in there as well, as a vet that's kind of jumped in and started leading more, and you can see that he's taking some charge and doing some things in the back. I would like to see more Regal involved in the back, and we'll see where it goes from there. Don't forget to hit that smash that like button. Boss B, good evening. Frankie said which pay-per-view was the best. I think I talked about that one right now. I don't know which one. Look, from a company storyline pushing it forward, I thought Clash of the Castle did well. All Out, as far as, to me, like, matches and maybe crowd. I thought the crowd involvement too at Clash of the Castle was different because it was the overseas crowd. I don't think, I mean, again, the problem with AEW is it gets so damn long that by the time you get to the last match, you're burned out, man. You're burned out. But I thought a lot of their matches were very good, man. I thought all the pay-per-views delivered. I'm not going to say, I mean, to me, I guess if you want to have to say one, there was no special surprises at any of them, right? MJF reappearing, which was talked about way before anything else there. So we'll have to see. I mean, I'll say Clash at the Castle to me was the best from a store. Well, actually, you know what? I take that back. All Out might have been the best because of the media scrum. If they play their cards right and they can get everybody to come back and be professional, you have a built-in angle because the Young Bucks and FTR are kind of jabbing at each other. Now you have Omega and CM Punk and the Elite. You could have those three, there's a 6-man tag, a war, a feud, 2 factions. If you can work it around, and again, I don't know how serious CM Punk's injury is, and that might be the timeline might not coincide and work with trying to get, this to work. But man, if you could bring back and they could handle that and do like Matt Hardy and Edge, you could make some money. You could make some money with FTR and CM Punk against the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega. But we'll see. Let's see. Sean, Dan Lambert, Bull Dempsey, and Kevin Sullivan were at the Bash at the Brew show in Hialeah. Dude, Kevin's Kevin's awesome, dude. I love Kevin. I got to work him, man. That was a dream come true for me, actually working a match with Kevin Sullivan. That was great. Mark Long from the MTV Challenge and Daisy Kill being Kissimmee tomorrow. Nice. What's up with Bray Wyatt? Apparently, Freddie Prinze Jr., I don't know if anybody knows that he's trying to start a wrestling company. Apparently, he has enough money already into the thing for 3 years of production. And apparently, word is, he made a huge offer to Bray Wyatt. And he also wanted to make a huge offer to Karrion Kross, but Karrion Kross went back to WWE before he could do that. But there's a third company now that possibly they got money to run for 3 years. He's got options. You got options. I mean, do you sit there and go with the startup and just get the money and go from there? We'll have to see. But it's either WWE or the Freddie Prinze Jr., I believe. I think he's coming back. I just don't know which one he's going to go because I don't know what the offer from Freddie Prinze Jr. is. And when you have a startup company, you could, offer things that you're not going to offer in WWE. Let's see. I would have storied Pat McAfee leaving. I mean, he's not leaving. He's leaving for the season because he's working the game day. I mean, he'll be back after the season. They're all working together. It's not really like he's leaving. And to be honest, I can't believe he stayed I thought he would be more in the ring than in the broadcast booth, but he brought so much more out of Michael Cole. And then also Vince leaving has like re-energized Michael Cole as well. So it's going to be interesting. Maybe they go to two-man booths. Maybe you get Corey Graves and Michael Cole on SmackDown, and you'll get Byron and why am I drawing a blank on the guy's name? The MMA guy. You'll have them on Raw. Maybe you go to two-man teams. Or you start, you can influx and start bringing some people in. Let's see here. Boss B also says next month in Hialeah, Dan Lambert versus Bill Alfonso. Oh, boy. Oh, that's going to be a bloodbath. That's going to be a bloodbath with Bill Alfonso. Let's see. I hope they don't spread the main talent among 3 brands. I'm not watching 3 nights of wrestling a week. I don't think they will. I think what you're going to get is you're going to get the NXT guys just getting a little bit more of a production lift and more push. Like you'll see, you've seen it already on Raw. You'll start seeing highlights of the next NXT. When Vince was running this, if you didn't know NXT was on Tuesday, no, you weren't watching it. You were not watching it because you didn't know. And then also with what he's doing, you're throwing Ricochet. You got Apollo Crews, Doudrop, and Nikki ASH. You got them going back down, kind of repackaging themselves. So you'll be using the NXT brand, as a brand, but then you can also have some of the main roster talent go down, repackage themselves, re-energize themselves, and come back up and be on the main roster. Dominic is just there because of his dad. He's not a very good wrestler. Albuquerque Alex, sometimes, man, it's that foot in the door. That's all you need, buddy. That's all you need. But also, I mean, he's got a lot to grow into. I mean, he can't wrestle the same style as his dad. He's not built that way. So he's got to figure out what the best Dominic Mysterio is. And we'll see how it goes from there, man. I mean, he's got some great guys around him now. Damian Priest is a big guy. Finn Balor, of course, and then, just working with Edge, and he's going to work Edge on Monday night. Edge will probably make him look like $1 million. It's about getting in and just getting that rep. And it's just like everything, man. If you get that confidence and you start, getting that confidence rolling, that's what happened with Mandy Rose too. She was losing her confidence up on the main roster. She wasn't being used as much. And when she was being used, it was a 2-minute match here, a 3-minute squash here. You send her back down to NXT. She gets the toxic attraction. Now look at her, man. The confidence just oozes out of her. That's some of it's a lot of confidence. It's just like every sport, man. Every sport, every entertainment, everything. You got the confidence to do it, you're gonna do it. Frankie Fresco says maybe Colt Cabana let me try this one time. Maybe Colt Cabana shows up next. He's apparently signed to Ring of Honor. He's laying low now. He's playing it smart, man. He doesn't need to be involved in all this crap. I would push some of the mid-level talent to Ring of Honor. My understanding when they got Ring of Honor was they wanted to be what NXT was to WWE. But then all of a sudden you had, Samoa Joe as the TV champion, Wheeler Yuta as your pure champion, FTR as your tag team champions, and it's like, something's not feeling right here. That's not enhancement talent, and so, I hope they do that. But now that you got the title on Claudio and Samoa Joe, who takes the titles off of them to run the Ring of Honor? I mean, that's the problem now that I don't know what the hell's going to happen. Another reminder, Tony's dad hired Urban Meyer. 100% correct, man. You're 100% correct, Tony. Tony Khan is too soft. He needs to grow a pair. Yeah, and then also, man, I mean, look, man. This dude loves pro wrestling. I'm not taking that away from him. That man loves pro wrestling. But also, he's trying to run every damn thing else. He's still with the position in the Jaguars. Football season started up. He's still part of the team in Fulham, or Fulham, however it's pronounced. I'm sorry if I mispronounced it. It's not like he stopped running anything on top of trying to run AEW himself. Because remember, he has taken away some of the stuff from the EVPs. They're EVP by title. They don't have a whole lot of say so much. Tony Khan is running and doing a lot of programs. Now, apparently, his right-hand man is now Tony Schiavone. Because remember, they did a whole bunch of the promotions. They promoted Tony Schiavone, Christopher Daniels, Sanjay Dutt. Forgot who else. I want to say Madison Rain, I believe, was one of the ones too, also promoted. And so, they've kind of made a talent relations department. And Tony Schiavone has kind of become Tony Khan's right-hand man. And I think that's a good guy, man. I think, look, man, you got him. You got JR. You've got Jake Roberts. You've got Arn Anderson. Dean Malenko. Tully Blanchard still part of Ring of Honor. I said William Regal, right? And then Dustin Rhodes. You have so many guys there. Jerry Lynn is also there. I almost forgot about him. I saw him last night. You have a lot of great minds back there, man. I hope that he's using a lot of them, because my understanding is he's kind of, burning both ends, man. And I think it's starting to show a little bit in him. And I believe he lets the nuts run the asylum, man. I get that you want him to have creative freedom. I get that makes the show a little edgier. I get you don't have to have everybody in the back like each other. But the problem is a lot of people started not respecting each other. And that has become that's an issue. When you stop respecting each other in a locker room, that's when issues can happen. Because I have to trust that if I go in the ring with that person, they're going to, I trust that person with my body. When we go up for a superplex, I'm in your hands. And if I don't respect you or, and everything else like that, man, that starts clouding that judgment, man. There's some talk about going around about, Adam Page, maybe a little stiffer than some people like. And some people have told him, to calm it down a little bit and not to be so stiff on certain things. So, I mean, it's a respect thing. And I think that's what's been lost right now in AEW. You got your guys that are respected, your Bryan Danielsons, your Chris Jericho's, John Moxley. You have those guys. And then you have that mess that is CM Punk. Let's see. The singing at the end was cheesy. Let's see. Boss Beast, they got a picture of AJ Francis. Yeah, dude. That is probably the most down-to-earth person I think I've ever met with what I don't know if you saw today, but he was with the Seahawks. I'm not sure if it was like a preseason thing or anything, but he tweeted out his picture wearing the 99 Seattle uniform. I don't know if it was like a preseason thing. It's during a game, so I'm guessing it's either a preseason because I don't think he was a member of this. Maybe he was, but I don't remember that being something that's been talked about. So maybe he was or not, but he's very down to earth. The few times I've talked to him, he's been very open and very, very precise with that. Let's see. Sean, AEW is too messy when it comes to pay-per-view events. Yeah, they're just too long, man. Too many 14 matches, man. I mean, good God. 14 matches. You could have done the two nights pay-per-views for that. I think WWE Clash of the Castle was 7 matches, and I believe the NXT was only 6. And that's 2 hours. I mean, the one was 2 hours and the one was 3.5. But I mean, when you throw 14 matches in there, the Athena match was cut for time. There was a couple matches that had to be cut for time because some of the matches went over. That's why you don't have 14 matches, because then, if one match goes long, you maybe take a little bit off, but now you don't have to cut off a lot of matches, and that's one of the things where I just, if Bray Wyatt goes with Freddie Prinze, he can't be the Fiend, right? I don't know what the copyright, as far as what they own and how long they own it for, Tony. So I can't say, and I don't know if they own Bray Wyatt, if they own the Fiend, if they own both, if they only own one. I need to look into that and into the legal end of that end and see what they own. But if they do own that, one of two things can happen. They can, talk with them and try to purchase it from WWE if that's what they want to do. Or sometimes WWE will let it go. Vince McMahon held a grudge with Cody for a while, and then he finally let the Rhodes name go. So, again, I thought Freddie was a writer. He was a writer a long time ago. Did you see Nikki throwing her mask at Doudrop? Yeah, they're trying to switch Nikki back. I believe you're going to start seeing Nikki Cross reemerge and team with Doudrop. And I think they're going to end up dropping Doudrop as well and putting her back as Piper Niven. So, that's one of the things, again, one of the things that I see with WWE and a lot of things that's happening is that, look, I know it's small, minor things, but Austin Theory to me sounds a lot better than Here Comes Theory. I'm sorry, man. It does. It's Austin Theory. I loved when KO came out and he goes, "Oh, that's right. I can call you Austin again. We found your first name. You're Austin Theory." Some things just don't make sense to me. Like Ciampa. You're Tommaso Ciampa at NXT, but when you come to the main roster, we're calling you Ciampa. When you come to the main roster, it's like Vince McMahon at one time had to mess with everything that came up from NXT. Something's got to change. I don't care what it is. It's going to be something. Keith Lee, you're now the Bearcat Keith Lee, because you can't just be Keith Lee and do what you were doing down there when you were getting over. No, I need to put a little twist on it. Shit makes no sense, man. Sometimes it doesn't. Everything doesn't have to be pushed off. Let's see. Good to see Braun Strowman back. Yes, and he is going to SmackDown. That's going to be interesting. I don't know if he's going to be. I mean, you've got McIntyre, Karrion Kross, Braun Strowman, Roman Reigns, Solo Sikoa, if they push him that way. I mean, there's your 5 kind of at the top. We'll have to see where they go with that story. I want to definitely look at that. Bossy QT Marshall got promoted as well. Very good. Thank you very much there. And I thought he was the right-hand man to Tony Khan. But I wonder how much the Cody Rhodes thing plays into what Tony Khan, again, because, man, in the back of your mind, you got to be thinking, right? That QT is Cody's boy. Tony Schiavone's not. So, we'll see. Frankie Fresco says they need Sean Stanley. Oh, Tank Morgan, man, buddy. If Tank Morgan returns, it is on. They could have cut at least 5 matches from All Out. Tony, 100%. Jewel, that's our society. SmackDown. Do you see Solo Collide win the Intercontinental and US champion? Not anytime soon, Josh. Not anytime soon. I think he's going to be too entrenched in this bloodline storyline now, especially with the way he's probably going to feud with Drew McIntyre, I would think, since he just cost Drew the title match, and Roman doesn't really do a lot of TV that much. He'll probably do this Friday because, whatever, and he'll set up for Solo Sequoia and Drew McIntyre, I believe, is what you'll see. But also you got Karrion Kross there because that was being built up. Hell, Karrion Kross was even at the show, sitting in the crowd with Scarlett. So there's a lot going on, man, as far as different things. I like what Triple H is doing with just keeping things, fluid, as far as, it's not getting stale. Problem with Vince is a lot of things got stale, and then what he did on top of the staleness is said, let's run it back. You know what? Last week it was Kevin Owens against Austin Theory. Well, this week we're going to make it a tag team match. We're going to put Bobby Lashley with Kevin Owens and Austin Theory with whatever, Finn Balor. And then the next week, you know what it's going to be? It's going to be KO against Austin Theory again. And, Bobby Lashley will take on Finn Balor. That starts becoming stale. And right now they've kept everything fluid. I love the way they're pushing the women's division. I think they have a hell of a women's division. And they haven't even got Sasha and Naomi back yet. And by the way, they were seen hanging out with a lot of the talent, the WWE talent. Although they are very good friends. Not saying anything, but I think you're going to start seeing a return pretty damn soon. I hope. Greater Good said Kevin Sullivan. Love me some Kevin Sullivan. I love him. Love that guy. Great mind. And like I said, I got to work him at the Comic-Cons at the Airport Hilton. Is it Airport Hilton? Airport Marriott, right? It's the Marriott, I believe. And we did, at the time, I was wrestling as Sandman, not ECW Sandman, the Spider-Man Sandman. Had the whole sweater on and everything else. And I took on Kevin Sullivan. And we tore the house down. We fought in the parking lot. We were requested to please return back to the arena because people were flooding out and watching us beat each other up in the parking lot. So good times with that, man. Albuquerque Alex, it's looking more and more like the Rockaway fiction. I believe that's where it's heading. I think there's two things they're trying to figure out right now. One, who and how. Actually, I guess you can make it 1A and B. Who and how take the titles off Roman Reigns. Because that match will not be for titles. That match will be for the head of the table of, the Anoa'i family. Or however you want to, whichever way they want to go. That's not going to be for a title. That's going to be for, the head of the table of the family. Then the problem becomes who gets the titles. Do you divide the titles up and go back to a title on each brand? Which I think right now, with the way it's going right now, I think you should do that. You're making the U.S. title feel very prestigious. Just had a steel cage match for the title with The Miz and Lashley. And then you're doing great things with the Intercontinental title. Hell of a pay-per-view match they had. Sheamus against Gunther. And I think you're doing such a great job at building up those two titles and making them mean something by defending them on TV and showing the history and showing they mean something. They're not just damn pieces of, leather with some gold strap on them and some guy's got to carry it through the airport. No. The belts freaking mean something. They have prestige. That I love the fact that they're doing that with everything. As far as what Triple H is making everything feel bigger than what it is. Really, it is. I mean, the way they're pushing Bailey and that faction, it's pushing them up for what? So that when you bring back, Bianca Belair, I think what's going to happen is Bianca Belair and Bailey are going to be fighting. They're going to attack, the three of them are going to attack them. And here comes Naomi and Sasha now. Although I was wrong on my last one, so I'm probably wrong on this, because I thought they could have had a great opportunity of bringing them back when they had the tag team titles and doing the John Cena CM Punk thing. But with Bayley pinning Bianca Belair at the pay-per-view, you're set up for a match to where, possibly you get Dakota Kai and Io Sky to jump in, and then who comes to make the save? It's Sasha and Naomi, and now you've got a pretty good couple matches you can book there. Bayley against Bianca Belair for the titles, and of course Sasha and Naomi against Sky and Kai. So it'll be interesting. Bossy says Carrie Silk, nice. Look, man, dude, CCW has always been on that verge, man. To me, it's been one of those ones where, they just need that one little step, and you'll start seeing, a little. Not saying like, not AEW, WWE stuff, but on a regional level, they could be on, Florida, whatever, Bally Sports Sun. They could, get they got some good talent there, and working the stuff. And I'm wondering, I'm interested to see, because Carrie Silken is the one that got a lot of the stuff done with the Ring of Honor and some other things there. So I wonder, it'd be interesting to see what they do there, or maybe he's just there visiting and he's got people there. So let's see. Josh asked, Sean, is Dexter Lumis being used good? I think so. Look, his character, it's a gimmick character. Working it with Miz right now is to me, it's not hurting anybody, and it's getting the Dexter Lumis story out there. And you're starting to see, the Dexter Lumis character. And then you saw what happened this week. He's got that sleeper hold on, and Miz is out in the middle of the cage as the show goes off the air. So I think it's doing its point. Because also, I mean, what do? You brought in Karrion Kross, and now he's kind of an influx. You're doing a great job with the vignettes and showing his character, but you brought him in and he knocked out Drew McIntyre as he was going to come to fight Roman Reigns before the pay-per-view. You put the hourglass and you flipped it upside down, telling Roman Reigns that his time is winding down as champion, and you're doing what? So I think at least with Dexter right now, they're kind of just showing you he's a freak. And they're doing it, I think, pretty well. I just think you can't bring, now you brought in Braun Strowman back as well, too. I forgot to even throw him into the equation here. Again, you're starting to get top heavy again. That's what happened with AEW. You get a little bit top heavy. Your bottom level, you start getting people unhappy, and then CM Punk is CM Punk. I don't know either way. I don't know which stories to believe or how he is, but I am apt to believe that if more people are saying they had the issues with how he is in the locker room, it might be a CM Punk issue, not necessarily a everybody else issue. Just saying. I agree. Make it old school and divide the title between the two. Yeah, I mean, Tony, I hope they do, man. I don't know at this point how you do it. I thought you had a great opportunity at Clash of the Castle, but Tyson Fury ruined it for me. I thought you have Austin Theory hand in the cash, they're both out. It's the Austin Theory hands in the Money in the Bank briefcase, climbs in the ring. Maybe, Roman's still out. He goes for the cover. 1, 2, Roman kicks out. When Austin Theory rises up, Claymore from Drew pins Austin Theory, not Roman Reigns. But since Austin Theory injected himself into the match, he pins Austin Theory. Now the titles, what happens to the titles? There's your chance to say, well, he did win the match. Here's this title. Roman Reigns will stay the WWE champion, and now you have the Universal Champion and the WWE title, and they broke up, and it's made sense to me. I mean, or you can just grab it and be like, you know what, Roman, you haven't defended the title enough. We're putting the Universal title up for a tournament. But I mean, that just, to me, it loses its a luster to me. That's just my take on it. And so kind of summarize where we're at here. Punk is out for a while due to injury, not anything else. Don't jump out here. You have suspensions, which I didn't even hear how long. They're suspended. The trios title was held up. The trios titles are now on Death Triangle. The heavyweight title is on another tournament now. So we'll see. And the interesting part is, again, Moxie's supposed to have some time off. I almost feel like Chris Jericho is going to get the title back in this tournament. It's the way it's going for me. Or it goes to, let's see, who's next week? It's Chris Jericho against Bryan Danielson, and then Jon Moxley against the winner of Darby Allin and Sammy Guevara. So, I mean, let's see. We'll see if Daniel Bryan maybe wins over Jericho. And I mean, I don't think you have Moxley and Jericho both losing in the semifinals. But again, that would leave it up in the air, right? Bryan Danielson, and Sammy Guevara in the finals. I don't know if that's going to be as good ratings as if it was Jericho against Moxley or Bryan Danielson against Moxley. I almost feel like that's the match they may want to get to, where you have two of the Blackpool Combat Club against each other for the heavyweight championship. So we'll see, man. A lot of stuff going on. Also, by the way, Bobby Fish is out of AEW. They did not renew his contract. He is gone. As it was talked about earlier on, Malachi Black asked for his request. He was granted the request. And what they didn't show on the pay-per-view was at the top of the ramp, he hugged both Buddy Murphy and Brody King. Then he gave a kiss out to the AEW crowd and pretty much was saying his goodbye. And he took a bow to the AEW crowd there. It says, so here's some of the stuff. Talent or other belief, there's heavy restrictions on Malachi Black, and there may be more to the agreement, including conditions that would prevent him from wrestling elsewhere anytime soon. Black withdrew from a September 9th indie show in Ohio. According to PWI Insider, AEW sources told us that the door isn't closed on a potential return for Black. Heard. So we'll have to see where that goes. Again, usually you get 90-day non-compete clauses. He had like 3 or 4 years left on his deal. I have no idea what, I mean, maybe there's money being paid from WWE to, because I know Triple H loved him some Malachi Black. I know Triple H did, so we'll have to see. Tony Z said, I would give Bryan Danielson the title. I think, look, man, if you want to spice it up, that's the guy in that group I think I give it to. But here's the other thing, and Terry, thank you for bringing this up. Sean, what is next for MJF? How about this? And again, I need to find out, because the casino chip, is that like the Money in the Bank? Because I know everybody's always cashing in on a match at like All Out or at a pay-per-view match. Can you just come in and cash that in? I don't know if AEW's ever made ground rules. Because here, if you have Moxley win the match and then MJF comes out and cashes in that little chip and then pins Moxley and wins the title and leaves the Grand Slam as AEW champion, it can work that way too. If that's the case, then I would rather have Moxley win the tournament, MJF cash in and beat him for that, rather than Bryan Danielson winning it and then MJF, because then what you can do is have Bryan Danielson be the first challenge to MJF with the title there. Impact won't let go. She has over, she has over 700 days on her contract, and she's not getting paid. She's paid by appearance, which, man, that's crazy to me. It almost seems like, I mean, I get it. They're independent performers. She signed a contract, but like there should be something to it. So you're telling me that if you can't use me, I don't get paid, but I have to sit home for 700 days? At least in WWE, they give you the downside of the deal. Your downside might be 150,000 a year, so that's what you get paid. So you get something while you're, on your 90 days or whatever. But it's just, man, that to me is just, I don't know the whole, I don't know all the ins and outs of that Lady Frost story, but it really rubs me the wrong way. The fact that you have somebody under contract, pay per performance, and you don't let her perform, but you won't let her out of the deal. So what the hell? I get it. She was injured and other things like that, but then, I mean, just, I don't know, Boss B, man. That whole thing there is just very odd, man. Just very odd. Just, it's stupid to me. If that is, if there's not more to the whole thing as far as, if it's just a contract that's paid for performance and she's got 700 days and they're just not booking her to just be an ass, then man, dude, Impact gets what it gets. That's karma, man. Karma will come back to them. Sean, I actually thought of that angle with MJF beating a tire. Yeah, I just don't know about the chip thing. I don't know if the chip thing is like the Money in the Bank or how that goes. So, I mean, I hope maybe they change it, man, and let them just cash that in on a tired Moxley. I think it would be best. Sean, it seems like CM Punk is injury prone. Body can no longer hold up. Man, yeah. I mean, I can't disagree with that. I mean, he wrestled twice, won the title twice. One was his own injury when he hit his foot. And then this one he tore it by trying to dive out. So yeah, I cannot say that because he looks in okay shape. It doesn't look like he's just like, I'm getting paid, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? And but again, I mean, that's why I'm one of those guys that like, I'm not built to do the outside shit and I'm not built to fly. Even when I was lighter weighted and not as challenged fat wise, I still wasn't flying because once you leave your feet, dude, there's no telling what could happen, man. I mean, hell, look what happened let's go back, rest in peace, Eddie Guerrero. The first frog splash he did in WWE, dislocated his elbow. It's one of those things where, man, once you're in the air, dude, it's all bets are off, man. I mean, there's that one in the backyard wrestling. I don't know if anybody's ever seen that one. There's a video. Can't remember if it's on TikTok or Reels or maybe on both. He's up on a thing and he goes to the thing and he raises his hand, then he jumps back into the ring and both his knees pop and they just fold in. I mean, it's dude, I don't believe in all the flying and the planches, man. One, you're leaving your feet, so you don't know where the hell you're going to land. And two, you're hoping that guy outside is going to be there and protect you. And sometimes there's not nothing they can do either, man. I've watched guys, totally misjudge and jump over the person they're supposed to hit and land in the second row in empty chairs. So it's injury prone, but it's one of those things to where, and I talked about it before. It's where I think, like with WWE, the reason why they didn't let Daniel Bryan and Samoa Joe back in the ring is because they felt they were protecting them from themselves because of the way they wrestle, their style of wrestling. Obviously, Samoa Joe's kind of changed his style a little bit. He still does, do the flying out of the ring and things like that, but most of it is more ground and pound now. Bryan Danielson, not so much. He's still doing his thing, but again, he was also out for a while because he had concussions and things like that. So let's see, Sean, you think Aaliyah and Raquel break up? Aaliyah is getting touchy with Raquel. I think ultimately, but right now I think what you're going to end up seeing is Raquel Gonzalez, I believe, will probably go heel, and it'll be more of Aaliyah not carrying the weight of the team. I almost called her Raquel Rodriguez. Raquel Gonzalez is going to be getting a big push in the women's division. That is now when that it's actually started technically with her winning the title, the tag team titles. It was kind of like Raquel won them. Yes, Aaliyah got the pin, but Raquel carried the match. So that's kind of the start of the Raquel Gonzalez thing, and then ultimately I think she's going to end up dropping Aaliyah because either Aaliyah gets pinned and they lose the titles and then she turns on her, or she just gets tired of carrying her ass and leaves her laying in the ring, and then somebody gets the pin and wins the belts. But we'll see. But she is definitely going to be getting a big push, and this is the start of it. How long they let it go for, we'll have to see. There's a lot of these independent wrestlers are on OnlyFans. Yeah, they make more money on OnlyFans than, I mean, hell, there was some guys in WWE when they were in NXT that were making more money on Twitch than they were making under contract at WWE. That's why they took the Twitch channels from them. Adam Cole and some of those other ones. That's why they took the Twitch channels. Vince was like, wait a minute, these guys are making what? How much money? And we're not making anything off of it? No. Cut that. And that's when a lot of them left. Let's see. Ballsby, did you see Chelsea Green flashing? I did. I believe that's when Zach got the pin, right? Oh, no, that wasn't a GCW show, was it? It was a different show. And then they went to the GCW show. So did she do it there too? Because she did something for some title, and he won a title, and then I believe they went to the GCW show right after. Did she do it at both shows? I mean, hey, more power to you. You got it. Flaunt it. Let's see, Sean. The older you get, the longer it takes for Punk to recover of biceps injuries and long-term injury, especially for his age. Not only that, but it's you have to get through the injury. Then you've got to get back into ring shape. Then you got to get back in, you got to start doing weights. And if there's a setback, I mean, it's going to look, it can be a while. That's why I said, like, if everything goes as planned and he comes back at the beginning of the year, okay, 3-4 months, if he comes back in 3 to 4 months, then I say you can do an angle and make money off this. After that, I think you lose some of the luster on it and people forget about it. But I think, like in January, all of a sudden you go to the back screen or whatever, and the Young Bucks are laid out and you don't know what's going on. And Kenny Omega is maybe in the ring or whatever, and this and that. And then all of a sudden, boom, it's FTR standing over the Young Bucks looking at him. And then, Kenny Omega kind of looks up at the thing. CM Punk jumps the railing, hits Omega from behind, lays him out in the ring, and now you can start that feud. But I believe you have to hit that in 3 to 4 months. As soon as Punk, if everything goes well, you can do stuff like that. Again, not a match, because you can still be recovering from your injury and still do little things. You can swing a chair and things like that. That's happened before. Guys with like biceps and tricep tears come back and just attack. And then you set up for, especially with the way AEW does. Their first pay-per-view is usually March, April-ish, maybe. So if you can bring them back in January and you build back up and you give him till March, April to heal and be in ring shape and just have them do, again, and this is if they can be professional and work this out. And there's, again, I don't know what the investigation's going to show. I don't know what legal's involved and what they're trying to get in this whole thing. They may be trying to get out of the contract with Punk. I don't know. But if you want to make money on them, these are the things that you can do. Oh, Alexa, no, Big O's not on at this time. No. Big O's getting his beauty sleep. He's got his red recover hat on right now. You know what? Albuquerque, Alex, you say Raquel Gonzalez. I say Rhea Ripley. I think Rhea Ripley is scheduled to be the next China. That's just because of her build. Raquel Gonzalez is big and everything there, but I think I think Rhea Ripley is more shaped and body wise to be like the next China. What do you think they're going to do with the Dexter Lumis, the Miz angle? You know what, man? You know what? I don't know, but here's one thing I would be interested in. Remember, Indy Hartwell is in NXT and was or whatever, they kind of did the thing, the farewell. But what if Miz brought back Maurice, or Maurice tried to come to Dexter Lumis's aid, and now you bring in Indy Hartwell and have Dexter and Indy team up against Miz and Mrs. or Maurice, however you want to look at it. Again, I don't know where they're going to go. This is just trying to get Dexter seen and just showing how freaky he is. I don't know what, the outcome basically is to make Dexter, look like a mid-card to a main eventer. That's the ultimate goal of this angle. How they go about it, how they lengthen it out, there's a couple things they could do. But ultimately, it's to elevate Dexter Lumis. I don't know if you go and you bring Indy Hartwell and Maurice into it, and you can do some, mixed tags and, however else, and then watch that. Alexa, I am doing good. Talking a little wrestling, almost ending it up here. Big O's watching the game right now. He probably is. Big O ain't watching wrestling. I can tell you right now, Big O ain't watching wrestling. He calls AEW A and W. Let's see. You're on point, Sean. Rhea does remind me of China. Terry, would Ripley and Beth Phoenix be? You know what? I honestly was hoping, and maybe down the line, it will happen, because Beth did get involved in one of them. I want it to be, Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley against Edge and Beth Phoenix, like what you had with Edge and Beth against Maurice and Miz. I would love to see that. I would love to see, or hell, just like you're saying right there, just make it. I don't know if Beth would want to go on one-on-one with Rhea or vice versa. I think you may end up making it a mixed, just so that it's not, because again, once you throw one-on-one, the elements aren't there. But I would love to see a mixed tag and watch those two go at it. Are you going to the Rumble in Texas? I don't think I'm going to go to San Antonio. Not unless something changes. With everything going on right now in football season, we just added Canes now too. So we got Canes and Dolphins Saturday and Sunday. It's going to be rough right now. My first, I think what I want to do, my bucket list would be my first travel to cover will be WrestleMania and the Hall of Fame that weekend. I think that's probably my target. So we'll see. This is just this is one of the test pilot shirts that I have. Also got the hats and things like that. So not selling them yet, Boss B, but we'll get them out there here soon. I promise you that. Let's see. I was a betting man. I would guess Braun wins the Rumble. See, that's where I don't think so. I don't think Braun wins the Rumble. I think Cody wins the Rumble. And I think by then, Seth Rollins will be a champion probably. And it'll be Cody getting his opportunity at Seth, because Seth will start dodging him. And Cody will chase him. And finally, they'll have their match at WrestleMania. And Cody will win the heavyweight title on the largest stage of them all. And then everybody in polka dots will cry at once. Everybody gets the reference. You understand what it is, the common man. The American dream. The bull of the woods, baby. Sean, what do you think they're doing with Dominic? Terry, I talked about it a little bit earlier, but I know they're trying to make him a heel, but right now, Rhea Ripley is talking for him, because I don't think he has that I don't know what the right word is. I mean, to take from the word Great Scott Hall, the machismo. You don't have the machismo to be a bad guy. To me, he doesn't. He just looks like, he tried to look mean and on there on on Monday night, and I was just like, I'm not really buying it. You can throw the black clothes on him, you can scruff up his hair, but he just doesn't look like a badass to me. He doesn't look like somebody that I'm gonna be like, don't really want to walk up to that guy. And I get it. Some of those guys you're not like, but nothing about Dominic Mysterio says, you know what? That guy there, that's a heel. That's my problem with that character right now. Again, we'll see where it leads to. We'll see what they do with it. But right now, I ain't buying it. I ain't buying it at all. And I want to thank everybody that's been in. Bosby, yeah, he probably belongs in it. But again, I think what they're going to end up doing with NXT is making it a third brand. So I think you're going to see guys go down maybe to get repackaged. Like, like your Ricochets, your Apollos, your Nikki ASH, your Dewdrops. You'll see them go down and kind of get repackaged. But I think you might end up seeing them stay there as well. I honestly think they're going to make that a third division. You saw another, real quick before I forget, at the pay-per-view, you saw the other Imperium. They brought them back together now. I just think, look, man, I'm not saying it's the right thing, but what I see Triple H doing is a lot of the stuff that worked in NXT is working on Raw. Now, whether it's because it's fresh right now, man, I mean, what's funny is, and I know I want to end it, but I got to share this with you. Raw and NXT numbers are up. They're positive. They're going up. SmackDown is going down. Because you're more diehard WWE, this is what I want you to watch. This is how I want you to act. This is what tunes into SmackDown. People started tuning out of Raw. So now everybody's jumping back into Raw like, oh, wait a minute. Wait, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on here? So it's interesting to me that those two are going up while SmackDown. I mean, again, SmackDown's only dropped like 2%. Not like a huge drop, but it's going down, whereas Raw's up 14%, NXT's up 8%, SmackDown's down 2%. So it's just an interesting number that I saw there. NXT travel more often then, or will they stay mostly in Florida? I think right now they're going to stay in Florida and do that loop right now and maybe add Miami, Palm Beach, Fort Myers, those South areas a little bit more. Build it up a little bit, see how the audience is. They'll test. They're going to use Florida as like a testing. Why? It's quick. It's easy for them to get to. They'll run it and use it like a testing area. And they may test things they might want to use in Raw and SmackDown as well with the NXT brand down here to see what works and what doesn't. But ultimately, I think you'll start seeing them travel a little bit more. I don't think they do like, all United States. I think you'll start seeing them go Florida, Georgia, Alabama, maybe Texas, and then, that little area, I think you'll start seeing there. I can see Raw being like NXT. Yeah, no, I think that's exactly what they're going to get back to. It's going to be black and gold, but this time with Triple H in charge of content and everything else, he can manage instead of it being, oh no, NXT's the third brand, but we're not going to promote it. We're not going to push it except when the NXT, the pay-per-views come up. Those are the only times you heard about a lot of stuff on NXT. So now I think you'll start hearing more, and I think it'll get its just due, and you'll see. Because my thing is, if now was your time when Worlds Collide to move up Braun Breaker. He's ready. Mandy Rose is ready. Toxic Attraction is ready. Carmelo Hayes is ready. You had all these guys that you could have taken the titles off of them and moved them up, and you kept everything. You kept everything on those on your champions. You got to be having a plan for more than just being a developmental if you're doing that, to me. That's what I feel. Josh, Sean, will Raw go back? No. USA is happy with it at 3 hours, unfortunately. USA is very, very happy with that. And I'm going to do these last 3, and then we're going to call it a night. You think they'll stick with the titles unified or with new voice in charge? Can we see separate? Mauricio, I covered it a little bit earlier. I don't know how. I hope they separate the titles. I just don't know how. I thought they had an opportunity at the last pay-per-view, and they still have an opportunity because until Theory cashes in the Money in the Bank briefcase, they could probably run that whenever they want. But, I mean, I don't think you have anybody beat Roman clean. That's the part that you got to figure out what to do. I mean, you could have had Karrion Kross interfere and give, Drew the titles at, it's got to be, to me, with the way you've built up Roman, it's got to be something big. It's got to be something big. And I hear everybody saying, oh, they're going to keep the titles on Roman until Cody comes back and then give Cody the win. I believe that would hurt Roman heading to versus The Rock. If Cody just comes back. Now, if there's some kind of squat, whatever you want to call, like a run-in or somebody cost the match, then I'm okay with that. But if Cody comes back, this guy's had the title for 2+ years, just beat Drew McIntyre, beat Brock Lesnar, and then Cody beats him clean, I think that hurts Roman heading to what you want, what your ultimate goal is WrestleMania 39. To me, Rock versus Roman Reigns. So we'll have to see. Terry says, what role Sikoa going to play in the Bloodline? I think he's going to be their muscle. He will be their muscle. I think what you're ultimately going to see is Paul Heyman probably step aside, slide more to the back, and work with Triple H on the creative side. Sami Zayn will take over as the mouthpiece. Solo Sikoa will take over as the muscle. You have the Usos and you have Roman Reigns, and you'll have the Usos and Solo Sikoa kind of running the show when, Roman's out, which is most of the time. Boss B says, Tony, that's what I was asking. I'm thinking they'll move all over eventually. Hold on. What am I missing? The rest of this year, NXT is staying in Florida. Who knows next year if they make. Yeah. I mean, again, plans can change. I mean, they can say they're going to be in Florida all this year, but they can easily get out of those deals because NXT does not run like big auditoriums. For instance, do any of you go to the Hurricanes? The basketball stadium is what's the basketball complex called? Oh my goodness, I can't think of the name now. The Watsco Center. The Watsco Center is here. There's a little building beside it to the right of it. If you're looking at from the parking lot, that's where NXT wrestled in. The annex. They didn't even wrestle inside the Watsco Center. It was the area. There's a little building right beside it. There was about 500 chairs, and that's where they wrestled. So they don't have like big buildings. If they need to get out of buildings, they could. It's not like they have to cancel huge arenas or anything. Hurricane show every Tuesday. There will be Hurricane now from 8 to 9 with Mike McCoy. And then starting on the 20th, we're doing the roundtable with Ira Shafel talking Seminoles. I'm drawing a blank on the gentleman's name for Manny Navarro, I know, is doing the Canes. And then we also have, sorry, I'm trying to get the name right now. It is Kevin Brockway will be doing the Gators. So we'll have all three teams covered. That'll be 7 to 8 starting September 20th. 7 to 8 will be the round table, Gators, Knowles, and Canes, leading into 8 to 9, Mike McCoy talking only Canes. So, yeah, I'll be doing just Thursdays right now. I've got so much right now, balls be on my plate, with doing all the audio, the video. Now we've got all the production for the pre and post Canes, pre and post Dolphins, setting up the interviews, going to Dolphins camp. Everything else is woo. It's getting a little bit tough running around everywhere. Let's see here. Shawn Michaels, Senior VP, good move. Yeah. But you also want to have your guys, you want your guys that you can trust, but also you want guys that are not. The one thing that happened with Vince McMahon, and man, I'll just keep going, and I'm sorry. I apologize. The one thing that the issue with Vince McMahon that happened was when Pat Patterson and all of those guys, started passing away and everything else is, I feel he got surrounded by just yes men. Vince said, let's do this. And they said, yes, let's do it. And you didn't have your Gerald Briscoes, your Pat Pattersons, your Blackjack Lanzas, your maybe other guys being like, no, why don't we do this? Why don't we do it this way? Yes, we can do that, but how about we put this spin on it? And it's just started becoming, Vince and yes guys. Pay me and I'll say yes to you, Vince, whatever you want. And that's kind of what he surrounded himself with at the end. It's just yes men. This is a good idea. Yes. This is a good idea. Yes. I didn't even say anything. Yes. That's all. I'm just there to say yes. What do you think about those? I hate them. I hate the RH titles defenses on AEW TV. I mean, you don't see WWE on Raw. They had the NXT title once or twice because of, travel issues or when COVID was going on and things like that. It just doesn't make sense. It's like you're giving your title, your TV time to other companies. I get they're the same company, but dude, you've got so much talent not being used on TV. Use them. The bummed guys not, that's kind of not a great. It is what it is, man. But hopefully we'll be somewhere. I know there's some things in talks in the works, so we'll see. Hopefully we'll have something to be able to announce. Ballsby, we're doing the games right now from our studios. There's no sports bars right now. The Canes and the Dolphins shows will be doing just on the Big O radio show YouTube channel. So that, my friends, is the night. Boss B, Josh, Terry, Matt, let's see, Mauricio, Tony, of course. I think I said Terry already. If not, I know the great Boss B, Albuquerque, Alex, Alexa. Where we at here? Let's see. Josh. Let's see. Tony Z, Greater Good. My dad, Jules, of course. Man, appreciate everybody. Steve Chapman, the one and only. I appreciate everybody that was on here tonight. Thank you guys so much. Don't forget, every Thursday now, we'll go between 8 and 8:30, depending on what's going on. It'll be most time 8 to get started. But I appreciate all of you guys, man, for spending your Thursday night here with me, talking some wrestling. Enjoy the football. Enjoy the football this weekend. Go Canes. Fins up. And, of course, so long from the Sunshine State.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day